Blech. X, the man with the X-ray eyes from 1963, directed by Roger Corman. Suddenly, he could see through clothes, flesh, and walls. A doctor uses special eye drops to give him X-ray vision, but the new power has disastrous consequences. I've seen that. So this is crazy. I guess I've seen this movie before. And I completely forgot that I had seen it. And, you know, like I said, I like to go all over the place when I do my Halloween watches. And I feel like we have not dipped into the 60s or the 50s, or we haven't watched enough older films. So I was like, oh, let's cleanse the palate here. And I love Roger Corman movies. I love Little Shop of Horrors. You know, everything Roger Corman did with the Poe cycle in the 60s with Vincent Price and Peter Lorre and Boris Karloff. I mean, it's all good stuff. Have you ever seen The Raven or The Pit and the Pendulum or Tomb of Lygia or Comedy of Terrors? Like, it's all really great stuff. I mean, Roger Corman was the ultimate, after we were talking before about Ed Wood. I mean, following suit is Roger Corman, and he's making like interesting genre films. I would love to see, I think X could do with a remake now that the technology, you know, you have all this great special effects technology that was really sort of hard to convey, you know, the concepts in 1963. It's done to the best of Roger Corman's ability, especially on a low Roger Corman budget. I don't even know what the budget was. You have cameos by Dick Miller, of course, one of stalwart of all Roger Corman movies. It's not a bucket of blood without Dick Miller in it. God damn, I can't get enough Dick. I just love Dick Miller so much. And you also have a great character role by Don Rickles, the legendary Don Rickles. Fucking love Don Rickles. He's so good, man. And he's, you know, the best character actors. They come in, they do their thing, and they leave just as quickly. And that's what Don Rickles does in this. He does it so well. And yeah, the guy, scientist, you know, there's a bunch of, he sees when people get injured. He could almost be like the original X-Men. You could almost say that this movie is the first X-Men movie if he was a mutant instead of giving himself this power with these eye drops. But he has a bunch of schemes. He becomes a psychic for a while. That's what this picture is of him. He's Mr. Metallo, and he's able to psychically know things while being blindfolded. Then then he starts diagnosing people's medical problems and stuff. Don Rickles helps him do that. He accidentally kills his partner, who flies out a window, and he's kind of on the run for a while. Eventually he makes his way to like one of those scientific. Exactly. We all love Dick. You know, there's a restaurant in Seattle. There's like a place, it's like a burger place called Dick's. And my friend, I've never been there. I've never been to Seattle, but it's just an inside joke. Would just, you know, he just always tells me about how a bag of dicks just hits so perfectly. You just go down for some dicks, and, you know, hey, you know, dicks all around, you know, dicks all around. What was I saying? Friggin', yeah, man. This is very entertaining. This is just really great, very colorful. Again, another reason, in the same way that I liked watching Cursed, I like watching these old movies because they really capture the time period, and it's just really fun to sort of like see what life was, sort of a semblance of what life was like in the 60s. Like, there's this one scene in particular where they're at like a party, and the way everybody's dancing like this, like in place, but they're dancing like this. And the gag is that he can see everybody naked because he has X-ray eyes. And it's just really interesting. It's like, wow, like, man, that's what a party was. You'd go to a party, you'd find a partner, and you'd cut a rug right in someone's living room, just dancing. And you see that in a lot of movies. Like, that's what they convey parties were. And that's probably because on some level, that's what, like, you know, in a suburban neighborhood, like, that's what you did in America, and like at a party or whatever. So, like, I don't know. So yeah, that's a go Google that scene on YouTube if you don't feel like watching the movie. I watched this on Canopy. I mean, you should watch any Roger Corman movie, especially if Roger Corman directed it particularly and not just produce it. Like, if Roger Corman directed it, and he stepped away from directing in the 70s and moved more into producing and stuff, and sort of, you know, And obviously a lot of greatness came out of Roger Corman producing as well. But Roger Corman directed movies in like the 60s and 70s are just, they're fucking so good, man. They're so good. You can never go wrong. You really can't. And Mask of the Red Death, that's another really good one. And so yeah, and by the end, you know, his X-ray vision, he literally can see through. So, and there's the thing about X-ray vision is that, you know, you see through your eyelids. How do you sleep? And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, well, you would sleep by simply turning off the lights, and being in the darkness is like closing your eyes. So even if you can see through, just because you can see through something, you still need light to be able to see, right? So like, that's the way our eyeballs work. So even if you could see through your eyelids, if you turn off the light in a room, then fundamentally, assuming it's not daylight outside, I guess that would change things. Like if it's nighttime, you still could sleep, right? But it presents an interesting sort of hook of like the madness. It's the same kind of madness that the Invisible Man kind of experiences, like the madness of like being of not being able to turn your brain off in some way, shape, or form, or being a certain way all the time, whether it's literally being transparent and invisible, to like not being able to turn the power off. And the idea of maybe like he can't sleep because his eyes are always looking at something, even when his eyelids are closed. I mean, that has to be excruciating. By the end, he can like see through everything. Like he sees through the solar system, and he sees like a giant floating eye. And then there's like some stupid Bible quote where he's like, you know, if what your eye sees offends thee, then pluck out your eyes. So the very last like shot is he rips his own eyes out, and it's done in a very sort of 60s like optical frame sort of way. And it, you know, but it's great. It's great. And this is something that is just absolutely due for a remake. Like give me a remake of X, the Man with No Eyes. Not to like overwrite the original, but just because like we're due for one. I'm ready.